It's one thing to talk about this incredible joy that comes from proxy work that can happen now because it's restored through the prophet Joseph. It's a whole nother thing to actually do it and to let your heart experience the joy that Joseph was talking about. Remember, it's joy for the living and the dead. So there's joy just ready for us to grab if we engage in temple work. So I wanted to make some cool way that you could do this as a family or as a class or even a young women's group. You could do this as a big stake or as a small primary class and hopefully find a way to find the joy that comes from proxy work. And I'm calling it the 100 Hearts Challenge. So just like we learned from the prophet Elijah, what these sealing keys offered was a chance for the hearts to turn, fathers to children and children to fathers. So I wanted some way that you could track it. So I created for you a tracker. It's this giant temple. It has 100 squares. It's in the shape of the Nauvoo temple so that your kids can keep track of their success. If I were you, in fact, what I did is I put this on our fridge and I told the kids that our goal is together, since my youngest now is Violet, who's in Young Women's. So all of us are able to go to the temple. So my thought was, as we actually take names to the temple, we will write a name on one of those squares. So for me, I just did an endowment ordinance this week. So I wrote the name Alexa on square number 1. And we post that on the fridge. And our goal is before Christmas to fill all 100. And I know that seems like a lot, but think about baptisms, how often you can do 5, 6 names at a time. I think you can, especially if there's a big group of you, you could accomplish this quick, but you also could adapt the deadline. For me, I picked Christmas as our cutoff, but I didn't put any cutoff on the chart or any dates on it. I actually hope that you'll choose for yourself. So depending on the proximity of your temple, you'll decide, is this something we're gonna do by Valentine's Day? Is it something we can do in the next 2 weeks? Like, how will this work? And then as a family or as a class, just do the work. What's great about this chart is it doesn't matter if you're submitting a name. Maybe in a primary class, you just help your kids understand family search and you get them to learn how to seek for names. Or maybe it's adding memories to your ancestors' files so that they have a more robust story to tell. Maybe that would help you fill in your chart. Or maybe it's ordinances that are performed. But I wanted to give you those tools. In addition to that big chart that you can put on your fridge or on your wall, I'm also giving you some other tools. So this is a new tool I've created. It's similar to something I've done in the past in that it's designed to hold family name cards. So if you open up Violet's, for example, there's different colors, of course, because I wanted one for each of my kids. So on the inside, they perfectly fit, 5, 10 family name cards that she could take to the baptistry. On the back, it has her own personal 100 Heart Challenge, so that if she just wants to keep track of her own work that she does at the temple, rather than write names down, she could just cross off the boxes and see how long it takes her to fill in all 100 and then print out a new one and she'd be good to go. In addition to that, the Nauvoo temple's on the front, and behind all those name cards, you'll find a little descriptor card. This insert is designed to help you to teach more about proxy baptism. I think there isn't enough out there to help us understand what those symbols are. So just like we talked about last week with the Nauvoo temple and the symbols you see in the architecture, I wanted to give you some way that you could easily walk through the symbols in the baptistry so that if your kids are new to the baptistry, or even if they've gone a lot of times, but they don't know why the oxen are there, or why there are 12 of them, or they don't understand why the baptismal font is set low, or why do they have to go downstairs to get into the water? What does it represent? In this week's verses, Joseph teaches us that because the Lord taught him that it's in similitude of the Savior. It represents his death and his resurrection. And I walk you through that in the card. My thought was then, if those of you who are doing we have a temple prep for kids now, that in the end of the year, there's a temple prep phase. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could help them teach, help them understand this, and then they could teach each other. And maybe each kid that comes to your little temple prep or priesthood and temple prep class, you could have a little name card holder ready for them so that as they go to that preview, they could come away with something. Maybe teach them how to use ordinances ready or some of the other tools like the Memories app, help them understand how to use those tools and put them to work. I created these printables so that you actually have a space at the bottom where they could write their name in, or if you're good with editable PDFs, you can actually go in and type it in just like I've done for my kids so that they have something that feels, a little fancier, that they can take to the temple, that they can hold on to names as they print them, keep them safe, keep them flat, keep them organized until they get a chance to go. Because having these little organizers for me helps me get to the temple. It helps me when I can see that there are names ready for me to go, helps me to grab that envelope, take it in my bag, and head off to the temple. It motivates me to see it. In addition to the motivation of the envelope, I hope the chart and the chart on your fridge will help them realize that this is a mighty work, but it is a work that actually can happen. As they fill in that 100th square, I hope they can see how quickly 100 hearts can get on the covenant path. And it might motivate them to do it more and more often.